Amanda, I want to play a game.
Hello freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. Today's video is going to be my full review with spoilers of Wolfman. This is the first horror movie that I have watched in theaters this year, and just like last year, the first horror movie of the year comes from Blumhouse. As always, all my reviews are with spoilers, but if you don't want those, on the description box down below you're going to find my spoiler-free review because I like to give you guys the two options. And given that quick disclaimer, let's get into the video. Now, Wolfman follows a family at a remote farmhouse that is attacked by an unseen animal, but as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable. And to quickly summarize it, the film opens with a brief explanation that on 1995, a hiker got missing, and as a result, the locals, they started to speculate about this virus that was correlated to the wildlife of the region. And then we are introduced to the male protagonist, that is Blake. He, as a child, is living with his dad in the middle of the forest in Oregon, and while they are hunting, they encounter something, but we do know what they encounter, and his dad is looking for it. He even has some notes about it because they are searching for what is carrying the virus. But we can see that the relationship between father and son is not the best. And as a result, 30 years later, we have Blake living in San Francisco with his wife and their daughter. Blake gets on the mail a death certificate from its father because he had been officially declared dead by the state because he has been missing for a while. And now Blake has inherited the house and the farm, everything with it. And because he's having troubles in his marriage, he believes that it's a good idea for the family to go on the trip and retrieve and clean the house, and that is what they do. But because the house is in the middle of nowhere, they get lost along the way, they have no phone signal, and they eventually find a man that turns out to be the son of one of Blake's father's friends. So he knows who Blake is, and he is aware of the dangers of the forest. So he is leading them to the farm, but on their way, Blake sees something in the middle of the road, so he detours. He crashes the truck on the trees. The man, he falls to the ground and he is dragged by a creature, and then Blake is scratched by it, but they are able to get safely into the house. But as expected, Blake gets infected with the virus that is no other thing than a type of werewolf, but that looks mostly human. So things are getting bad. He's not even able to speak. So the wife, she decides that the best thing that they can do is leave. They have Blake's father truck on the outside. She finds a battery, she takes some cables, and she gets the family out. She's a very smart woman, I have to say. She's able to start the truck, but at last, when they are about to leave, the creature appears, so they return to the house. They try to leave the house several times during the night, but they aren't able, and eventually the girls, they get on the inside of the house, and we have a werewolves fight, and they end up fighting on the inside of the house, and at last Blake kills this creature, and this is when it's revealed that the creature is no other than Blake's father. Blake gets the full transformation, so he is no longer human, he is no longer the man that we met at the beginning. And when the wife and the girl, they realize that Blake wants to die and that he wants to stop this, she kills her husband. And the film concludes with the mother and the daughter looking to the valley. And that is essentially it. Now getting into the review. I was excited to watch this film. I was looking forward for it. It's the film that I was expecting the most this month, but unfortunately, it didn't fulfill my expectations. I didn't have higher expectations, but I was expecting something good, and I have seen people liking it, and that's awesome, great for you, but that wasn't my case. From the moment that the film began, I knew how it was going to end. At the beginning, we have Blake and his father, and the father is telling to him, look at this view. They are on the valley where the film ends, and he's telling him that this view never gets old. And in the back of my mind, I just knew, one way or another, the film is going to end there. And then we have that first encounter with the werewolves, and the last scene when Blake is now the werewolf, it kind of plays the same with the girls killing him after. So in a way, the opening scene is giving you how this is going to end. Next is the fact that Blake's father got the virus. That was something that I was expecting to happen as soon as they tell you that he is declared dead and he has been missing. I just knew what happened to him. Here the film never bothers to hide those small details that are going to matter at the end. As an example, Blake and his daughter, they have a special bond. They spend more time together because the wife is a workaholic, and since he doesn't have a job at the moment, they spend more time together, so they have a cute father-daughter relationship. And usually what they will do is that he will ask her to touch his forehead and ask her what I am thinking, and then she will say that you love your daughter, and he will say to her, oh my god, you're reading my mind. That happens a couple times in the movie, and I just knew that she was going to try to do that when he was a werewolf. She does, twice. So for me, the film was extremely predictable. I also feel that the marketing has some blame here because I feel that they gave away too much with the movie description, but also with teasers that they were releasing. A few days ago, they just released the clip of the transformation. You shouldn't do that. I want to see that on the movie theater. Sometimes the trailers, they gave away too much and you don't realize that until you're watching the movie. And I feel that this one, unfortunately, they gave away too much. I understand by the title, of course, you know what this film is about, what is going to happen. He's going to be a werewolf. The fact that the film is a reboot of The Wolfman, I mean, of course, we know that. It's the same thing as a vampire movie, we know. But it's the story what should remain a secret until we're watching it. And unfortunately here, the story is very easy to predict. And something that I didn't understood is at the beginning, they're given the explanation of the hiker getting missing, and they talk about the natives having another way to call this virus. They call it the face of the wolf. You are in the middle of nowhere, right? You are on a forest. You're talking about natives and the tribes. So why you don't use that into an advantage? Go deeper into the lore. Give me more information. To this point, the film never gives something about the origin of this virus. The only thing that we have is the glance of Blake's father's notebook where he has annotations of what the creature is and what it shows, and also the explanation at the beginning, and we never get a brief of the origin of it. And I feel that they could have used that on their advantage, because when it comes to the folklore and all these legends that are out there, especially in the forests on the United States, I feel that there's so much that they could have used to make this a little bit more interesting. For me, the film, unfortunately, because it was so predictable, it felt a little bit boring, but I have to say that it goes pretty fast. The film goes fast-paced, but it comes to a point that is running in circles. Like I said, they go inside and outside of the house several times, and it's on one night. I honestly felt that they could have played this several nights and maybe doing the transformation little by little. I gave this example to my boyfriend and he told me that was the strangest example, but it works. If you have ever watched The Santa Claus, that is not a horror film, of course, but if you have watched that, you know that he turns into Santa Claus little by little. And I am not saying that you have to go on the same pace like that, but I feel that it could have benefited the film a little bit more if the transformation was little by little and then we got the full moon. I understand that maybe they were trying to do a different type of werewolf here, that's fine. When it comes to the story itself, it became too generic. So for my understanding, they were trying to do a different type of werewolf, and we have seen plenty. There's so many different versions of it, and that's fine. Because if you want to change a concept, that's fine, that is not the problem. But if you're going to bring something different, then the story, make it more original so that they can work together. When it comes to the wolf design, I remember when it was first shown, I remember seeing the reaction and it wasn't good. For me, I was like, there's no way that they're showing it too early. Maybe this is just a brief or a decoy. Maybe this is not how it looks. It wasn't that different at the end of the day. It doesn't really make a difference when it comes to the outcome of the story, but it does when it comes to the presence. And as an example, I am going to be using Nosferatu. When Nosferatu came out a few weeks ago, Something that I mentioned was that the presence of the creature is a strong one. It gives you the creeps, it's scary, and you can really feel it. While here, when you have him in front of you, he doesn't have that presence. He is not scary, he is not intimidating. He was lacking that atmosphere, and I think that the design had a lot to do with it. So I think that they could have gone a little bit scarier when it came to the character design. Something that I did notice was that they did a reference to Saw, and it shouldn't come as a surprise. The director is the same guy that not only writes the film but also appears on it. At some point, Blake gets his feet stuck into a bear trap. So what he does, he cuts his feet, and with that scene, it reminded me immediately of Saw from 2004. It was something that I catch right away, but I thought that it was cool. If there's something that I did like about the film was the setting, and it's unfortunately that they didn't take it to the full advantage. The place was gorgeous. When the father is telling that the view doesn't get all, that was true. That was gorgeous, it was beautiful, and the forest, it was creepy, it was dark. So I feel that they could have used that into their advantage. Imagine getting yourself lost in the middle of the forest at night and there's something looking for you. I feel that they could have used that a little bit more and make a more anxiety inducing scene, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So this wasn't the experience that I wanted. I'm still remaining positive and optimistic because I know that there were a lot of people that did like it. This wasn't the most awful experience. I have seen worse, but I think that it just happened the same as Night Swim last year. It's just a generic film at the end of the day, and I have come to the conclusion that I am not the biggest fan of generic / commercial movies. I think that at this point I prefer to have films that are more original, or that if they're bringing something that we have seen before, they feel fresh and that they are reinventing the concept or the subgenre, the trope, whatever it is. At least this wasn't the film for me, but again, there's nothing wrong with that. If you like this film, again, great for you. So unfortunately for me, this film is a 1 out of 5 and a 4 out of 10. This is a film that is actually perfect for people that get scared way too easily because they're going to be fine. They maybe get scared here and there, but they're going to survive. But with this, I think that I end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what do you thought about this film, if you like it and if you didn't. It's sad that we have started the year like this, but at least Goosebumps last week was a little bit better. But with this, I end the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Game over.